One of the first things we wanted to ask her about, these now infamous images, many of them selfies taken from inside the prison, showing what appears to be Heather having the time of her life.
A lot of people might look at you, Heather, and say, this is a young woman, a young killer, they might say, with too many freedoms. It's been reported that you spend your days partying, that you're caught up in a salacious lesbian threesome in there, and basically you've got everything that you could want on the outside. Is there any truth to that?
I don't party. How would I party in a prison? You know, sometimes I listen to music, but I don't spend my days partying. I spend my days taking care of my daughter.
And to many, that might come as a surprise. Heather Mack is now the mother of a 2-year-old girl named Stella, a baby fathered by her co-conspirator, Tommy Schaefer. In fact, in details she says she's revealing for the first time only to us, Heather claims her pregnancy, along with Tommy's surprise arrival in Bali, are the two main factors that led to her mother's death. Now, with her baby in her lap, she tells us that story.
So Tommy rolls up and what, your mum just explodes?
Well, she didn't know at first. She was asleep, and of course I left the room. I snuck off to the beach with him, and she woke up, and that's when she went to the first reception, and they said Tommy Schaefer checked in under your credit card, and she just went nuts. I just said, let's go to the room. When we went to the room, we went to sleep.
From there, she says, things only got worse.
I went to Tommy's room, and I just said, I don't know what to do. And he said, let me talk to her. And he looked at me and said, okay. And he came down, and it just escalated again.
To the extent that you can remember, what can you tell me about your mum's final moments?
This isn't even in the court transcript.
The point of no return came, Heather says, when she finally made that big announcement that she was pregnant with Tommy's child.
She was so angry. I told her I was pregnant, and she went around the room looking for a knife, and she was just screaming and screaming and telling me that that was when I was going to die, that was when I was going to die. And I said, Tommy, help me. And Tommy walked over to her, and she went and she grabbed Tommy's neck, and it wasn't hard. That Tommy could have shoved her off. Tommy could have run away. Tommy's a very strong man, but I was just screaming and screaming and screaming, and he just smacked her. Smacked her, smacked her, smacked her over and over and over and over and over. And I ran to the bathroom. I said, Tommy, what are we going to do? Tommy, what are we going to do? Tommy, what are we going to do?
What they did was wrap Sheila's body in duct tape and stuff her into a suitcase. But before we get to that, we wanted to try and understand how the relationship between mother and daughter got so bad in the first place.
I mean, give me an insight into what your childhood was like.
Yeah, it was not very healthy at all. My mother was an alcoholic. She was also diagnosed with multiple personality disorder. And the thing with my mother is that she just didn't want me. She didn't want Heather Mack how Heather Mack was.
Heather confirms things got only worse after her dad died, but says that even before that, it was a violent home life.
So I became extremely close to my father, and that also made her mad, and that drove her nuts, because I took her husband away from her. She would say something that hurt me. I would come home from school crying, tell my dad would hit her. Then she would hit my dad. Then I would see her hit my dad, and I would hit her. Then we would both hit her. And then it was just a pattern over and over and over and over and over until my father died, and then it got worse.
How do you mean?
Especially when I was pregnant. I was pregnant before Stella. She just went nuts. She would chase me around the house until 3, 4 in the morning with a knife, with a kitchen knife, just saying, get the out of that room. Get the out of that room, you slut, before I have to stab the baby out of your stomach. Over and over, all night.
Shocking assertions, but Heather says it was this background that led her to where she is today.
That was where all the anger came from. I had all the toys and the money I wanted, but that isn't what makes a child happy. And I was extremely angry because of what was going on in my household. I go to school because I was up taking care of my drunk mother.
I understand.
So that's where all the anger, until now, I still have anger.
But then, Heather swears it wasn't any sort of callous anger that led to one of the most gruesome aspects of the crime.
What she does is fold her mother up like an accordion and put her into a suitcase. Unbelievable, with blood everywhere.
She was already dead, and I just went mental, and I was just hugging her and hugging her and hugging her. And I wouldn't let her go. And he just said, now we have to run. And I said, you are nuts. I'm not leaving my mother here. I will not leave her here. And he said, what the do you want to do? And I said, I want to bring her. He said, in what? And I said, in a suitcase. I'm not leaving her here. I just didn't want to leave my mother. I don't know. I have no idea where Heather Mack was at that moment.
But Heather says she knows precisely where she is now.
Most of the time, especially at night, I'm crying. Especially at night.
Can I ask you why you cry at night?
I miss my mother.
Okay, so this is a video that I need to make. A lot of the times, since I've been a kid, I've heard, the truth sets you free, the truth sets you free. And I never understood, but I'm Heather Mack, and I want to be set free. I don't want to live in a lie anymore. When I was 10, my mother killed my father in a hotel in Athens, Greece. 2 weeks before I came to Bali, I found out that she killed my father. And I made it up in my heart, in my mind, my soul, in my blood, in the oxygen running through my body, that I wanted to kill my mother. First, I asked Tommy Schaefer to help me find somebody to kill my mom for $50,000. And he said no. After that, I got this whole new savage idea in my head that I wanted to kill her in a hotel room, because she had killed my father in a hotel room. We were going to Bali, so I began to plot. I began turning off Tommy's phone, taking Tommy's phone when he was asleep, starting in Chicago, taking Tommy's phone and having conversations between Tommy and myself, texting myself, having fake conversations, and then deleting them before he could see them. I did that because part of me knew that with this plan of killing my mom in a hotel, that I might get arrested. I didn't want to get arrested by myself in a different country. So I came to Bali, and I told Tommy that he was going to come here for a vacation. I told Tommy that he was going to come to Bali for a vacation with me and my mother, and that she knew about it. In all reality, I stole her credit card and bought him a ticket without her knowing about it. I trapped him here. And that is what I regret. I don't regret killing my mother. And as evil as that may sound, that's my reality. If somebody killed Stella, I wouldn't regret killing them either. But I regret bringing Tommy into it. I regret being selfish. I regret trapping an innocent person into this because it was my battle. It's my mother. It was my father. It was my mother. It was my father. It was my battle. I'm sorry to Tommy Schaefer for trapping him. Came to Bali. My mom found out. I killed her myself. And then I told Tommy that if he did not help me clean the room and get rid of the body, that I would tell the police that he did it. I would pay money to get him arrested. So he helped me clean it. He ran with me. In the court, the same thing happened. My lawyers and I, because of the fact that if I get money, if my article that I was charged with was not that I'm the one who killed her, I'm still entitled to the money, and therefore I can pay the lawyers more. So we told Tommy together, my lawyers and I, that if he didn't take the blame in the court, that he would get the death penalty. So he lied in the court because of me. My motivation for doing this was myself. It's from inside of me, and it's my battle. It wasn't Tommy's. Tommy's an innocent man. And an even more innocent man is Ryan, Tommy's cousin. I don't even know how he got involved in this, or why the FBI involved him, because he had absolutely nothing to do with any of it. He's innocent. I don't know if they wanted to sell a better story or what the FBI was on, but Tommy and Ryan are innocent. I'm not. And the only thing Tommy is not innocent of is hiding the body. And the only reason he did that is because of me. Because it was so burning and so deep in my heart, my plan, that I didn't think. I involved him, and I hurt him, and I hurt Stella. And I'm sorry, Tommy Schaefer. I'm sorry. I love you. I really love you, and if I could go back, I would do it myself. And I'm sorry that everyone who ever knew you now thinks you're a murderer when you're not. I'm sorry you won't be able to get a job. I'm sorry everybody thinks that you're some crazy killer. This is the truth. And whoever is watching this, don't hate Tommy. He's innocent. I'm not. I love you.
American woman who spent 6 years in a jail in Bali for the murder and dismemberment of her mother is back stateside. But that freedom was short-lived. Just as soon as Heather Mack landed in her hometown of Chicago, she was greeted by federal agents and put back behind bars. Jim Murray explains.
Just hours after this video was taken, heiress Heather Mack was arrested when she landed at O'Hare Airport in Chicago today. The charge, conspiracy to commit murder in a foreign country. Her arrest followed Heather's deportation from Bali, where she was released for good behavior after serving 7 years as an accessory to murder and stuffing her mom's body into a suitcase during their vacation on the island paradise. As seen in this DailyMail.com video, Heather was accompanied by her 6-year-old daughter Stella, who was born behind bars. The international journey started in Bali, then Jakarta, Seoul, South Korea, to her final destination, Chicago, where Heather grew up. I spoke to Heather's lawyer, Brian Claypool.
She will likely be behind bars for at least 6 months until we can try to have the charges thrown out.
Inside Edition has learned that the original plan was for Heather Mack and her daughter to fly from Bali to Los Angeles and then to come here to Beverly Hills, where her attorney had arranged a home for them to live in temporarily. But her lawyer says U.S. law enforcement authorities had other ideas.
I get a phone call, hey, federal authorities have gotten involved, the FBI's involved. They're diverting Heather and her child Stella to Chicago.
Heather and her daughter were accompanied on the deportation flight by the foster mom who has been raising Stella. Do you think that Stella is the real victim here?
It is heartbreaking.
Kia Walker is the mother of Heather Mack's boyfriend, Tommy Schaefer, who's serving 18 years for the slaying in Bali.
I want custody of my granddaughter. Stella has family here. She has me.
Today in federal court, Heather Mack pled not guilty. Her daughter Stella is staying with the foster mother who was caring for her while her mom was incarcerated.
Born, I swear. You're losing your hair. No, of course not. Stress. You need to get more healthy food though. But you can dry hair. Mommy needs to eat more healthy. Yeah. No more Coca-Cola. No, Coca-Cola tidak bagus. Panas, asin. No good.
We want to bring Stella Coco. No, it's the top.
Stella's losing her hair. Seriously.
Why?
Maybe it's the food. Maybe it's the Coke. All the Indonesians think I'm crazy for drinking Coke. Maybe they're on to something. Coca-Cola.
Not stress.
Stress, bro? No, stress. I'm stressed. You stress me, Omen? Stress. Serius. Serius.